we've got the Atlanta Reign against the Philly Fusion. Two teams that were matched up, and they actually had some very, very similar team comps as this match went on, right? Both teams are kind of playing the like Reinhardt comps, right, with the Lucio and the Ana. Let me open up the Epic Pen here real quick. And yeah, both teams are playing with the Lucio and the Ana and the Rein and the Zarya. On a lot of the attacks, Poco actually decided to go D.Va over Zarya. But interestingly, from the Reign, they played a ton of the Ashe. And I really want to kind of zoom in on the Ashe in this VOD review because it's something we haven't seen that much, and she was recently buffed. Now, I'm not sure if the Ashe is better than the Kree, right? But it's something different. Ashe is kind of like a hybrid between McCree and Widowmaker, right? Where she has really impactful scope in, but what was mostly buffed to Ashe is the non-scope in shots and her ammo box. So I find that really interesting. And then we have the Philly Fusion, who are now just playing the Kree, but they're also going to play a bunch of the Ashe later on. Okay, so both teams charge the point. First fight, Sato actually goes super aggressive. Ends up all the way on the Reign side. Okay. Both teams get the Zarya bubble. And the Zarya actually, I think, is picked over the D.Va. Specifically because the bubble is like really, really good for the initial Rein engagement, right? Thank you for the followable, Skunk. The Grav is a great ultimate. And also, with Moira banned, D.Va doesn't have to eat the Moira orbs, right? For sure. So then the Ana makes a lot of sense. So that is my theory on the Zarya. We saw it a lot today, actually. We also saw McGravy play it on the Valiant. We haven't seen it in the Asian regions as much, where they also played some of the Rein Sigma, right? But I think the Zarya is very interesting. Alarm got a ton of value since Reign didn't play D.Va though. That is true. That is the risk you walk up to though, right? Because you have no D.Va, the Ana can get massive nades. So it's all about kind of abusing the fact that the enemy team doesn't have D.Va, right? But the trade-off is those bubbles. Zarya bubble allows Rein to swing very hard. Zarya bubble can also unfreeze the Reinhardt from the Mei freeze, which D.Va can't do at all, right? So it's like, oh, you might get naded, but at least you can get rid of the freeze. So it's like, it's a trade-off, you know? Okay, so we get into this. Oh, dog, man. So Philly have gotten control of the point. This makes a lot of sense, right? Because in the straight-up battle, the Kree does more DPS and has the stun. But in like the long-range poke war, and the Dynamite does a lot, right? From Baby Bay. So it makes sense that the Reign are playing this a little more passive. Because that's what the Ashe does. They get walled off, they counter wall. That was actually a pretty good wall from Ivy there. But they still managed to get Carpe here. Ooh, Carpe gets a big stun, but he gets Fire Strike by Pokpo. Now, Pokpo's also gonna die because there's nobody to eat the Fire Strikes, right? And eventually, because the Fusion kind of have the point side, and Carpe got that huge stun, they do end up winning this fight. Sorry, it might be because of Mei ammo's nerf, so you can cleanse the freeze and it's harder for her to freeze someone again. Maybe. I don't think that's too big of a deal, however. I think the freeze cleanse is big, but you can't just save the bubble until your Rein's finally frozen, you know? You have to kind of use the bubble proactively, because otherwise your Zarya never has energy. Also, retaking into Zarya with Zarya becomes really hard, right? Because their Zarya is always going to have energy because they just won the fight, while your Zarya isn't going to get energy. And they have to use bubbles, right, to get that energy. And you're always basically going to be lower energy than the enemy Zarya on the attack than on the defense if you are the one retaking. So retakings become a lot harder with Zarya than into Zarya. Poko goes for Shatter. He shatters the Ursa wall. What happened there? Okay, so the wall comes out for Ursa. They try to slam. So this is a miscommunication. And then Sato also gets nanoed, and he also doesn't get shattered. And then Ursa's gonna run over. He has to shift. And this is bad sauce for D-Rain, right? Because they've now used their wall. Ivy's going to get to wall. And Ursa's already had to use shift. Poko does get the nano boost. Okay, and then Philly decides to disengage because of the nano boost. He also has to use wall to get out, so not a bad start to this fight so far from D-Rain. And another good wall from Ursa. The beat comes out really late, actually, from Funny Astro. Poko and Ivy are already dead. So I get why he beat it right. He tried to save Poko there. And if Poko does end up staying alive, that's massive. But it was just a little too late. The Rains still go pretty low though. Okay. And now the Rain should just be able to clean this up because they still have the Zarya up. The enemy Zarya is dead. But Philly's still going to get over 50% here on this first point. Now, Rain actually used only the nano boost in the start of that fight. Nothing else. So this next fight, they have a bunch of ults coming up. Especially they have the beat advantage over the enemy team. So hey, they have that access to that defensive ult, while the Fusion does not. That's a really big deal here. Okay, the long range grab comes out though from Poko. He hits the backline from the Rain. Luckily there's the beat from Masa, but Ivy also has his ult. So Ursa should definitely counter ult right in front of them. But this is a very, very long range engage here from the Fusion. And they're kind of in the mind of, hey, if we just ult first, the enemy team has to defensive ult, and then we can get access to the point, right? So Masa's going to beat. They're also going to defensively wall. Meanwhile, Poko's getting a little beat up on. He hits the nice shatter onto Ivy and Funny Astro. That's very good. The defensive Zailton. So all ults are coming out on every side, right? The Mei ult is very massive for Ivy, but now Poko gets shattered and Dogman dies to Carpe. Rewatch, because this is like a game-changing fight, right? If the rank can win this, then the Fusion have no ults to re-engage. And they should be the ones to win this. But because of this long-range Mei ult and Ursa's Mei ult not getting anybody, where is Carpe ulting from? Oh, he's just top right now? That's a good location to ult from. Oh, and he kills Dogman, and then Bob body blocks the shot from Masa. That is really cool. So he could have killed both Dogman and Masa there, right? But Bob actually, being Mr. President, he's like, get down, Mr. President. Ends up blocking the shot from Masa. But it's not going to matter in the end because of that huge mail. The mail just lasts so long. The Nano Boost also comes out. So that was kind of a 6 ult fight, right? For either side. But Hawk actually wasn't able to ult. And Dogman didn't have it yet. And Funny Asher didn't have the beat yet. So, very nice and early engage for the Fusion. And that's kind of what I feel you have to do when you are like retaking, right? You can't just sit there and wait for the enemy team to ult you. And especially if you have no D.Va on the lane, that long range grab onto 4 was very good from Poco. Right now again retaking. Ashe is on an off angle. I think this is very smart. I think if you're going to play Ashe, she should always play not with the team, right? Because 1, she is very long range damage, but 2, she does less DPS than the McCree, right? McCree does more shield damage to the Reinhardt. And just a higher overall DPS. But the Ashe does have that dynamite and longer range damage. So if the Ashe can kind of off angle from the team like a Widow would, she has a better chance to pick squishies off in the backline than the McCree. So I think that is kind of the reasoning for the Ashe, including also the dynamite. Which, because there's no D.Va to eat it, and there's also no D.Va to contest the Ashe, it makes a lot of sense, right? If a D.Va right now could just fly onto Baby Bay, Baby Bay would probably die here. But since there's no D.Va on the Fusion, Baby Bay is very free, right, to shoot. Question in chat. If the Ashe is going to take an off angle, would bringing a Sig with her on the off angle be a bad idea? I think so, because the thing about Sigma is he needs to be very close range as a character. So Sigma, the Ashe can be right here, right? Like here or here. But Sigma actually only has this kind of range, right? So the Sigma would have to walk up all the way to here. And at that point, you can speed on him as the whole team, right? So Sigma's only good on a few maps. Not on most cops, but if we're thinking about like defense, Paris would be a point where I would pick the Sigma because he's very safe there. You can sit on a lot of high grounds and take an off angle that way at every phase close range, right? Is kind of the way I feel about that. I don't feel like the Sigma plays the same range as Ashe, which is why I wouldn't play the Sigma with the Ashe. Ashe kind of wants to be as far back as Baby Bay is right now. Grav comes out for the rain. This is kind of the same thing Fusion did, right? Very aggressive Grav early. The rain doesn't have the mail to follow up, but they do have the nano boost, which is also a really good ultimate, right? Now Philly have just a beat, but oh, nice wall there from Ivy. And there, Poco is actually having a really hard time going around that. And while all that's going on, Carpe kills multiple. So very good setup here from Philly, and Carpe is actually right behind here. Wait, Carpe was just hiding under the team. That's very smart. Yeah, he comes from behind, waits for people to drop. First they get stunned, double headshot. And actually double headshotting there instead of right clicking is really smart, right? Because he could have just right clicked Erster there. But the thing with right clicking is you have no ammo left. And now he still has ammo, right? You keep shooting. So if you do the left click, you can keep shooting, then roll, keep shooting, you know? And if you right click, then one, you have to be closer to the enemy, which you don't really want to be. And two, you have to instantly roll, right? You're forced to roll because then you can reload your ammo. Otherwise, you can't. Let's keep going. Carpe killed 2, so this fight's probably won by Philly, and it's already the last fight of the point, basically. Carpe kills more. And that's the point. So, interestingly enough, the Rain... Like, I feel like this is all an extension from the Rain kind of losing that first fight. And then they won that retake, right? Because they had that nice nano boost on Pokeball. But then Philly kind of came back with that grab May combo. And Erster couldn't get as much value out of his Mayo as Ivy could. And I just like the very proactive play from the Fusion. Like, the way this defense on the Rain retake was set up was phenomenal, right? Let's look at the positioning real quick. But this is exactly how you'd want to set up a defensive hold, in my opinion. Look, the Rain comes up top. We can go even more back. Rain comes up top here. Baby Bay is right in main, right? He's going to try to spam out the enemy team. So the way to counter this off angle is by being aggressive wherever the Rain is, right? So the Rain is up top right now. Good. Baby Bay's main. Only 4 from Philly are actually on point, if you guys can see. What the Philly is doing is they are hiding people like... well, let me see where Alarm is actually. Yeah, Alarm is right up here. He is hidden. And Carpe is also hidden. So that when the Rain drop, both of these guys are going to reveal. They're going to use their high impact cooldowns, right? To try and get picks for the Fusion. And it's better than just 6 stacking on point, right? Because you are kind of surprising the enemy team with your off angles. If you're all just stacking on point, the Rain can get a great grab on you. But because you're splitting, it's going to be very hard for the Rain to get a great grab on point, right? So I think this is exactly how you would want to hold into a team that has more ultimates than you. Because if you actually look at the Fusion, they have 0 ults. So they have to make some bigger plays, right? Well, if they just all get grabbed, they're screwed. But now they actually make a great play. Both Carpe and Alarm come out as soon as the grab goes off. Like, they're not showing yet. Not showing yet. Alarm actually shows a little bit early, but there's no Diva to contest him anyway. Since he's on that high ground. He misses the nade. Rav comes out. He's still on the high ground. And then Carpe pops up. Right? So only the tanks here from Philly got grabbed. Ivy comes in with a great wall onto Pokeball, who then can't swing, and then Carpe pops off because they had good pre-fight positioning. If Carpe was just with the team, he could do nothing like this, you know? So good thought process there from Philly and really using that defender's advantage really well. And yeah, the Philly just win after that, right? After they get those 2 picks with the Kree, they just win that fight. We were at Rain is playing this Symmetra composition. Right, with the Zarya, interestingly enough, but I guess you can bubble the Reinhardt, make space for your Symmetra. Some teams do play this with the Diva instead to kind of matrix the Symmetra a little bit more, but the Zarya is fine, right? Zarya is also a better swap if they decide to play the Ash later, right? And Dogman here is on the Baptiste to be able to drone the Symmetra. So kind of what this comp says from Rain is, hey, we're going to put Symmetra on point. We're going to put our turrets up there. And then the Philly Fusion are playing the Doomfist, which is a counter comp to the Symmetra, right? Because Symmetra always has to frontline, right? If you have the Reinhardt here, well, we can just see it from the Rain. But if you have the Reinhardt here, Symmetra's range is like actively from here, right? She can beam just past the Reinhardt. At this point, she doesn't have a very long range, which means she has to be in Doomfist range, right? So Doomfist can punch in. Symmetra's always got to be in his range. She can't really hide behind walls like a McCree could, right? So Doomfist soft counter Symmetra, I wouldn't say it completely makes her unviable, but the Doomfist also bumps the Symmetra outside of the Baptiste drone, right? So the Doomfist is definitely a great pick into the Symmetra from the Rain. And Philly's walking out top. They'll see that the Rain isn't top. They're going to go rotate to the point. At that point, they know what's up, right? Because a team with the Symmetra is always going to go sit on point. They're going to put the turrets up everywhere on the point. This high ground lodge is like really hard to kill the turrets on. And then the Fusion kind of have to stage an offense against the setup defense from the Fusion. Now let's see how they do that. Right, Masa scouting up top here. That's smart. Okay. They're kind of going behind here. Let's see. Erster is looking to wall main here. Right? They can wall one side of the point. Generally, you want to wall either the Doom engage or you want to wall when the Doom goes in, because they just don't have any range damage with this comp, right? Everything on the Fusion is short range except for maybe Ana, but she does barely any damage, right? So you want to wall as soon as the Doom goes in or just a little bit after, because they've all got to go in when the Doom goes in. Carpe is going to launch up his punch here. Pokpo is already looking at him though. And interestingly enough, this is very smart from Babybay. He's put his TP to the high ground to kind of push out. Now nobody's gone with him, but if he can TP back after the punch, then he can't get punched, right? And Babybay is the main target for the Carpe punch. So he's going to TP out, and then I guess TP back in. He's still up top right now. Carpe comes in, the drone comes out as well. Carpe gets frozen by Erster. Dogman actually ends up dying. So it's a 1-for-1 right now. People are going to keep using the teleporter. 1-for-2. The Rain actually capped the point, right? Because they're set up on it. Their Symmetra turrets all got destroyed, but with that Symmetra not dead and that high energy beam, Babybay gets the fuck, right? So, pretty smart TP out actually. Because Carpe was just going in with punch as Babybay went out. And then Carpe is now going to swap over to the Ashe. And I'm guessing this is because there's no D.Va, right, on the Rain to eat the Ashe Dynamite. So the Ashe Dynamite can get a lot of value on this point, right? Because this Rain team has to 6-stack. So I think the Ashe actually makes a lot of sense in this situation. But if there was a D.Va on the Rain, then maybe it wouldn't have made as much sense, you know? Now, they're going to keep taking the TP. I assume the Rain are just going to go back to point as the Philly Fusion come in, because they don't want to give that up. And Carpe is probably going to... Let's see where he is setting up. Oh, so Philly might go out of kitchen. No, they all go main. Okay, so that's not too great for Carpe, right? He kind of wants to be on the high ground. Wall comes out here for Erster. Wall also comes out for Ivy. Yeah, and the Rain are going to set up on point, and they actually have the Symmetra ult, which is like a really good ult. It has 5,000 health. If you can use it early in a fight, which I would always suggest doing because it lasts 20 seconds, you can go really hard on the enemy team, right? Like if Baby Bay can just ult like this, they can play on point with it, and they can go out of point with it too if they want to be aggressive. And it's just another shield you can play around, and you really cannot kill it because it has 5k HP. The only thing that can reliably kill it is High Noon. But even then, right? No, most of the time it's going to live for that full 20 second duration. Okay. So Dynamite comes out, doesn't hit anybody on the Rain. But I don't like how the Rain aren't making the proactive play here because Philly, even though Rain has the point right, still win the very long fight. And Dogman actually gets slept here. So very nice sleep from Alarm. And a little bit of a misplay from Dogman. But he's probably going to die because of that. Yeah, Dogman ends up dying. So that's disastrous for the Rain. Because they really can't afford to lose like 90% of their heals, right? Pokpo is going to barely get any healing right now. And they had the advantage with the Sim Wall up while the Philly only had the Nano Boost. That's rough. And they still Sim Wall pretty early. But the Nano Boost comes out onto Sato. Now there's no healing on the Rain, right? And you see how low they are? If they would have had the drone or the healing right now, high chance they could have still won this fight. Even with Nano Sato, but now it's just it's literally over, right? It's very hard to win the fight after that. Okay. Well, here's a very interesting question from my card. Lots of Ashe this week. Any specific reason why? With Kree and Widow available, it seems like it came out of nowhere. That is the way I feel too, and this is basically the only match, or I guess we saw the Ashe a little bit from Shock in the Valiant match, but they actually played the Reaper, which I think is good against Ashe, right? Because you can run over the Rhine, you can't McCree stun, but that's a different topic. I feel like the Ashe kind of came out because there was little D.Va play, and I feel like the Ashe is great at taking an off angle. So let's say the Philly Fusion are set up here, right? And you are the Rain. If you were playing McCree, you couldn't really go split, right? But what Ashe can do very well is she could go main while the rest of the team, for example, goes out of kitchen. And then Ashe has the range to shoot this high ground. And because there is no D.Va on the Fusion, Pokpo can't deal with it, right? So all that can deal with it is like maybe the Lucio. But Lucio isn't going to go fight an Ashe, you know? So the Ashe can very reliably take off angles on the enemy supports. While McCree wouldn't be able to do something like that, right? So I think that's one reason the Ashe is good. The other reason is Ashe got some buffs, right? Her left click's more reliable. So she's a little bit better in close range duels. Do I think the Ashe is always better than the Kree? No, of course not. But I think without the D.Va on that enemy team, the Ashe makes a lot of sense. And actually the Rain might be going to do exactly what I said, right? Baby Bay's going to take an off angle on the Philly Fusion, right? And another question from chat, why is Zarya played over D.Va? Especially with Ashe being played. I'm not entirely sure on this. I'm going to be honest. I think D.Va is very, very strong. I think the D.Va wasn't played specifically in this match. because the Zarya is kind of snowbally, I feel like. If you win the one fight with the Zarya, her energy carries hard, and I also feel like the Zarya bubble onto the Rein cleanses the freeze from Mei really well. And maybe the Mei nerf kind of made it so Mei can't freeze as consistently. So being able to cleanse that Mei freeze could be a bigger deal than I maybe think. But I'm not 100% on this one. I think D.Va is still really strong. We also saw a lot of Sigma played in the Asian matches. D.Va is now nerfed from 3-second boosters to 4-second boosters. So that could be a small reason why. But as you can see here, if there was a D.Va on the Fusion and Babybay would show his face here, the D.Va could deny him. While now, only Carpe can like shoot him, right? And then it's just a 1v1 basically. So I think there's positives and negatives to the Zarya. But I definitely think it's really interesting. And this is like the really one of the only matches we did see it. But maybe the D.Va booster nerf hit her pretty hard. Okay, so really aggressive grab again from Poco, who's been throwing them out very aggressive. Nice walls. Nice wall from Erster especially. Shatter from Sato onto Dogman. If Dogman dies here again. Okay, nice. Good beat from Masa. Another huge ult fight. Erster with another ult too. Hawk uses the self bubble. He's on Sato. Wow. And the Rein actually gets super split here. Dogman ends up dying main. Babybay is also there. Masa and Pokpo are on point. While Hawk and Erster are over here. They actually get Omega split. Good day, JP. But this isn't looking too hot here for the Rein, who use a bunch of their ults, right? And the Philly also use a bunch of their ults. But if you actually look at the positioning from Philly, they're much more clumped up and able to help each other, right? Alarm can shoot Erster. Everybody can basically shoot Erster. While on the Rein, not everybody can focus one target, right? So even though Philly split, they're still somewhat more grouped up than the Rein is right now. And Dogman actually ends up dying really early. Carpe kills 2, so he gets a big pop off this fight. And that was like the massive ult fight where the Rein had a chance to retake that, right? Especially because they had won that first fight. But yeah. Alarm had Pokpo's number this match. Alarm played very good this match. Okay. I think the lack of D.Va really hurt the Rein in that Alarm actually got a ton of aggressive nades. And what you can do, right, with the Mei wall is you can Mei wall, for example, this. You can toss up a nade on the top of the Mei wall, and then it will AoE people under the Mei wall. So if you wall off the Rein and you instantly nade the wall, 9 out of 10 times, unless the Rein is like super good and like flicks up and blocks it, right? But it's really hard with all the visual clutter in Overwatch. You can get a nade onto Pokpo if you hit good Mei walls. And D.Va normally prevents that sort of stuff, right? But because these teams aren't playing D.Va and they're playing the Zarya, that becomes a lot harder. So you can't use bubble for everything, right? You only have one bubble. And you also have to use that bubble for the energy. Nice dynamite and fire strike here. And nade for the Philly Fusion while the Rein walk in. They actually all dropped to 1 HP before they're actually even walking in. Babybay is on an off angle right now. So this is what I was talking about with the Ashe, right? Where because there's no D.Va, off angles are easily takeable. And the Ashe is really abusing that in this match so far. Carpe dies to Masa. Ooh, Masa just with the assassination. Good grab there from Hawk. Wait, they're not following up on this? Wait, the Reinhardt winning this? Wait a second. So they kill Carpe. Pokpo ends up dying. Carpe's on the high ground. Masa ends up killing him. Pokpo's full HP. He's very low shield. Whiffs the shatter. Good block from Sato. And then he has no shield. Dogman is not in his LOS because, again, last time he got killed by Carpe here twice. So I get that he's a little bit scared, but he should be closer to his team right now to heal Pokpo more. Hawk also has already used a bubble, and the Bob has come out for Carpe before that fight even started. But now Pokpo's just gonna die. The Grav comes out, right? And they actually got Alarm and Carpe. But because Poko is high energy, Hawk's low. Dogman can't actually heal him. So this is not a fight that the Reign should have lost after they got that pick onto Carpe. But they kind of rushed it. They kind of went a little too quick. Dogman wasn't able to get in position. Maybe they still clean it up here, but considering the time bank, maybe not. Oh, Ivy actually has a pop-off moment. Let's watch that from his POV here. Oh my god. We go back, we go back. This guy's a monster on the Mei, dude. Kills Urster, kills Dogman, kills Baby Bay. Okay, it was mostly last hits. Bob almost C9's the point. They missed a wall on the Bob. But that's okay. Bob actually feeds ult charge if there's no one around there anyway. And now, that was really the fight that the Reign should have won, right? Because they'd used the Shatter, they'd used the Zarya ult. They didn't have the support ults, and they used the Bob. And now they kind of have to like go ahead and retake really fast. They have 0 ults. The Fusion have 3 ults. This is basically what they call untakeable, unretakeable. There's just too many ults and there's too little time. Pokpo does end up, or Hawk ends up touching. But yeah, Pokpo insta dies. They beat, they grab, they nano, right? There's just no way you retake that at that point. And so the Fusion take the first map. In really dominant fashion, actually. I thought that was closer, but the ult fights, like the big ult fights, just went in the way of the Philadelphia Fusion, and they were able to get a lot more value out of their grabs and their Mei ultimates. So ult value, name of the game there. And good defensive positioning from the Philly Fusion as well there. Interestingly enough, again, the Reign is playing the Ashe. This is again a pretty long range map. But Poko is now playing the D.Va. And I think the D.Va is actually really good against the Ashe. Because the D.Va can stop the Ashe from taking off angles, right? Big nade from Dogman. Reign are gonna hold aggressively up here. Good wall and dynamite. Poko couldn't eat that because he's slightly out of position. He's not walking in front of his team. He's trying to matrix them in, right? But that's why this wall is so smart. And it's actually not an out of position play from Poko because he wants to get full value out of his matrix, right? So he's trying to stay back and matrix everybody in and then fly in himself, which makes a lot of sense. But that's why this wall from Ursher is like even smarter, right? He's not walling this off because he can wall off Poko and make sure he doesn't go into, or they don't go into left side here for the Philly Fusion. Set nade from Philly, doesn't do too much. And this isn't maybe where I would like Carpe to maybe play the Ashe, right? Because he could now stay main because there's no D.Va on the Rain to fly on him. It's the same for like a Widow, right? But if there was a D.Va on the Rain, then I would like this Kree a lot, you know? So it's like that game where I think you can't off-angle against D.Va as effectively because she has so much mobility. But against the Zarya, flanks are really strong. Okay, so another big dynamite for Baby Bay. The problem here is, though, for the Rain, is that because they're not finding kills off these dynamites, Baby Bay is farming a lot of ult charge, right? But is Bob really a good ult? No, Bob is not that great of an ult. While Fusion, because Baby Bay is doing so much damage, is able to farm support ult. And are Nano and Beat good ults? They're really fucking good ults, right? So Baby Bay's kind of farming the support ults with the Ashe right now. And if Alarm can just get his Nano Boost first, then the Rain just lose, right? Because Nano Boost is such a strong ult to crack a point like this. So Carpe's still kind of off-angling. He has to back out because Masa is shooting at him. And Alarm almost has Nano, so Sato's just taking damage up here, right? He's farming that Nano Boost for his team. Sato goes up, goes in. The bubble comes out here onto Pukpo. But without the bubble, Alarm even misses the nade. And hits nade. And even with the bubble, the Rain are getting pushed back really hard right now. Alarm, again, almost does Nano Boost. Dogman was able to farm it actually like from like 0 because Sato got so many more swings off than Pukpo did. But then Erster ends up dying. Why? Okay, so he tries to help. He gets stunned. He has to shift. He's out of a shift. Oh, but then Sato just swings on him. So Sato doing a really good job here. Being aggressive. Using that D.Va who was taking all the aggression away from Sato as kind of a bait. And he's able to swing because of that. Now Hawk gets nanoed. He's pretty high energy. Ivy uses the shift. But Sato also gets nanoed. And because Erster is down. And because of the Baby Bay damage. Funny Astro was able to build so much beat charge that he now has his beat available. Nice sleep onto Sato from Dogman. Pukpo ends up dying because of the beat. Carpe and Baby Bay are dueling, and Alarm is actually able to keep Carpe up. Maybe if Baby Bay wins that duel there, or he could clutch the point, right? Because the fight's still fairly even. Let's watch his POV here. Yeah, he's able to shoot Carpe once. Oh, Carpe's movement. But Baby wastes a lot of shots here, actually. And he gets dinked by Carpe. Yeah, if he could have won that 1v1, then he has the high ground. Baby Bay's or Carpe's dead. And then it's just Sato and Ivy really on the point. And they could have maybe won this fight even though Dogman died. So interesting there. Bob was still up. Alarm actually ends up dying to Masa. But yeah, at that point, Philly Fusion are just going to clean up. That's not too bad of a hold though for the Rain because Philly had to commit their support ults, right? They had to not commit any other ult, I guess. So just the support ults were committed. But it's fairly even, right? Masa almost has beat, and Rain almost has these 3 ultimates as well. So it's not like they're gonna get snowballed like we see on the next round. These fights should be fairly even, and specifically with the Graviton Surge from Hawk, should be winnable for the Rain here on the defense because they have that defensive positioning. So Poco is able to eat all of Baby Bay's dynamites, right? Like he did there. The Philly actually take a lot of space just walking up. I guess because yeah, they just get that space. See, because getting to the point for free like that is really good. I guess it's because they have the D.Va and the enemy team has Zarya without energy. Because if Hawk would bubble here for energy, then that's the freest engage ever, right, for the fusion. Like if Zarya doesn't have bubbles, she is very low on the power level, you know? Like if she has bubble and energy, she's super high, she's super strong. If she just has bubbles, she's like fine, right? But if she doesn't have bubbles, then Pokpo gets ran over so hard because you have the Mei and you have the Lucio speed, right? So if they would bubble for energy here, then Rain would have to speed back because Philly will just engage off that. Any good team will engage off you wasting bubble. So that's why Hawk can't have energy here, right? He has to sit on 0 energy because if he bubbles, they're screwed. Rain gave up a bunch of space. Pokpo starts swinging. Hawk's looking to grab. He grabs the high ground. Okay. So he kind of jukes Poco here. Sees him use the Matrix. Okay. Kind of baits him out, right? Then he can go for the grab. But he just kind of whiffs it. I think he wants to throw it here. But he hits the high ground instead. Meanwhile, Pokpo just blocked the shatter. And I think Sato's actually going to run back into this grab. So Sato's kind of like, hey, Hawk. I'll save your grab, buddy. It won't look that ridiculous. No problem. Well, Dogman also got a big nade onto Sato. Sato's going to die. Kind of going to save this fight for the Rain. But the Philly actually got really good positioning. And if Sato was able to live there, they would probably have won this fight. Now Ivy also goes in for the ultimate. It's a big ult. Baby Bay kills Poco. Urster also has the ult. And yeah, off that, Baby Bay cleans up, right? Bunch of ult spend on both sides. Carpe is now also going to swap over to the Ashe. Presumably, you can, there's no D.Va on the enemy side, right? So then the Ashe is very good in my opinion. Because you can get those dynamites. I still don't know if it's better than the McCree. But the way Carpe and Baby Bay both popped off in this match, the Ashe seemed very impactful. Free is a lot better at just taking that space, but Ashe can get those off angles, you know? And with the way these fights have been going, especially with the Zarya, they're not over that quick. Just these fights aren't over that quick, and in these longer fights, the Ashe can get value. Even though Bob's not a great ult, Ashe is okay. Rain wasted ult in a poor positioning throughout this match. Agreed, their ult economy wasn't as good as the Philly Fusion, which is why I think that's a big reason that they lost. Oh, this was today? Yes, this was today. This was like 3 hours ago, my friend. Okay. So Pokpo gets engaged on again. Baby Bay tries to bob. And then Urster just gets ran over. What? So Urster doesn't manage to press his shift in time. Wow, and he just gets one shot by the off-angling Ash again, and the Nano Reinhardt. Hawk's on the high ground. Bob gets blocked off, right, for the rain. He's going to start shooting after the wall drops, though. Start shooting. And then he actually gets slipped. But they've killed Ivy, so it's a 1-for-1 for now. Sato has dropped to 1 HP. And ults are relatively even here. Poco has the Diva Bomb to regain health. And Astro beats very aggressively too. This is where the Rain can kind of counter-engage with their own beat, right? Yeah, they are going to do so. They're not all running out. Urster's just come back. But Ivy's not in the fight at all. So this should be a good fight for the Rain. Sato ends up dying. I think Poco's probably going to die. No, he gets healed. And shielded. The Rain with another good defensive hold. Even though they had to give up so much space, you know. Just having that Zarya high energy did a lot of work for them. And Urster dying that early was like crazy, right? Because Carpe got that off angle. They got that swing on him. But they were still able to bring it back. Why are they running Ashe over Widow? With the Ashe buffs, Ashe is more of a hybrid between Kree and Widow. Where Widow is only long range, you know? But Ashe, because she got like accuracy buffs on the left click and a larger ammo box, she does a little bit better at shorter ranges too. So I think that is why they are playing the Ashe over the Widow. And the Widow, you know, needs to pop off, hit headshots every fight. Well, the Ashe, you know, if she just hits dynamite, she's already okay. So Poco ends up swapping to the Zarya. He hasn't been getting enough value in these long fights. Whereas Hawk, you know, he is very high energy, has been doing so. Okay. So the Philly Fusion go in. Alarm and Poco get dynamited. Move from Masa gets Poco off the high ground too. That's good. And the Rain have a shit ton of ults here. So they should be able to win this fight with aggressive ult usage. But I think Poco lifts the Shatter. Forces the Ivy Ice Block. But not great. They also grab. Poco is pretty low though. Nice Maywall. And Nano on Sato. And again, this is that ult value that I've been talking about, right? I feel like whenever Poco ults, he gets multiple people in the grab. But now Hawk ults, and this is the second time he's only gotten one person, and it's Sato, you know? The first ult got Sato, it killed him, but now Sato can just get nano boosted. The Mei ult also comes out, right, from Urster. So they're really committing to killing Sato here, but he's nano boosted. The nano boost also comes out on Poco, so they really have to kill Sato. Sato gets barriered right by the Zarya, and that's why Poco can't pin him. And this is fucked for the Rain. They just use 5 ultimates, and Philly was able to disengage. That is really low ult value. Like, especially on defense, you need to be able to get value out of those ultimates. So a little too aggressive on the grab maybe. If he could have gotten a 2 or 3 man grab there, that would have been great, right? But only getting that one person sets Ursula up for only a 1 man ult as well. And that kind of screws over the Rain here, because now, as you can see, they have the beat and the Ivy ultimate. And the Rain have nothing. Which ult economy is more important on 2CP than any other map, right? Because these points can really only get capped by great ultimate usage. And yes, we get some hot Bob on Bob action here at the end. Good bubble from Poco. Bob 1, Bob 2, fight. Billy Bob wins. Fatality. But yeah, now the Rain are low on ults. They're actually like pretty clumped up already, right? So this is a great spot to mail. And yeah, Ivy goes straight in with the mail. The bubbles are already out for the Rain. So maybe what Rain could have done, right, is before they grabbed or before they mailed it, forced out the enemy bubbles from Poco, and then mailed, you know? Because the bubble actually cancels the freeze from the Mei. And yeah, the Philly just capped like that. So start Atlanta round. They've got the Ashe again, and the Philly are playing the same comp the Rain was on defense. Now the Rain are playing the Zarya on the attack. Interesting, right? Oh, and Baby Bait. Oh yeah, this is where he pops off really hard. Let's see. We watched Baby Bait from the start. This was a massive pop-off moment. Oopsie Dynamite. Hits Funny Astro. Kills Carpe. He's jumping to get that angle on the high ground to shoot his head better. Kills Funny Astro. Goes up to the high ground. Oopsie Dynamite. They sleep Ivy. Kills Ivy too. Yeah, nice headshots onto Carpe, especially there. That was crazy, double tapping him like that. And he's actually already 70% the Bob, right? And because he got those kills straight away, there's no healing coming out from the Philly onto those targets. So now it's good Bob charge, not feed Bob charge. And Hawk is able to get energy off that. Now, the Philly don't have energy on their Zarya, right? They have 0 energy. They can't bubble because then the Rain just engages. So this is actually a very rough fight for the Philly Fusion. Yeah, and the Rain go in instantly. I love this wall. They go super aggro. They're actually not able to get too much in there from what I can see. And Alarm has a healing angle. Gonna have to drop, but they gave them some space. Ursher actually kind of stuck. He has to get bubbled. Oh, and then Carpe hits a great dynamite on the backline of the Rain. Who weren't topped up at all. They were pretty low actually. And this was a hard snowball fight for the Rain. Oh, Carpe's on the off angle, right? This is what I'm talking about with, hey, there's no D.Va on the enemy team. So this off angle can't really be punished. Like, who's going to push him? Maybe only the Lucio can really do it. But you still want that speed with the team. Yeah, Carpe over here. Oh, actually, Baby Bay instantly headshots him. So very nice job from him. Carpe goes and gets the health back. And then Carpe comes out, dynamites the Rain, and ends up killing Carpe. Or Dogman. Nice job there. And that's really what Philly needed to do there, right? Because the Rain had gotten a bunch of space. Their Zarya's high charge. Almost at Bob. And Bob isn't that great of an ult, but it could still get some cooldowns. Create some space, you know? And Poco, even though they lost that first fight, still has more ult charge than Hawk. Which I think Poco did really good this whole game. Is find his ult. They also have mana boost. But ults are relatively even here. Bebe is now kind of contesting the flank preemptively already. Pokpo goes and drops the point. Good from Rain so far. Oh, the nano boost comes out for both sides. Oh, and then Masa gets picked because he goes for a super aggressive boop. Those and boops. This makes sense, right? He wants to boop these people off the high ground, especially if the Zarya can just zap your team in the back. That's very annoying. But then Alarm and Carpe have an angle on him. They just shoot him while the Rain is kind of walled off. That's really bad for the Rain because they're already investing ults into this fight, right? Bobs come out from both sides. Bob gets slipped. Bob gets killed. Oh, nice block there from Pokpo. That was really good. 1 for 1 right now. And a nice nade here from Alarm. To nade both Pokpo and Urshi, who would both use a lot of cooldowns. Oh. And then, oh. Pokpo shatters, and they kind of panic. So Funny Astro uses beat, but I think that's a critical mistake. I think they had already won this fight, and especially on defense, you really want that beat. You kind of counter enemy ults. So Funny Astro doesn't beat here, for example. He could beat the grab from Hawk. Could be a very big deal, right? But because the beat is used, they'll only have the mail next fight. So big overspent there from Funny Astro. Also got punished a lot for trying to get boops this match. I think that's also on the Philly be doing a good job of spotting him out. Excuse me. Doing a good job for Philly to like spot him out and punish those boops. Because it's pretty hard to counter a Lucia that goes for aggro boops like that. Because normally you just focus the Rein, you know, when he comes in, so he can't swing. So changing your target focus with everybody to that Lucio. Good sign of team cohesion. Okay. But yeah, Philly overspent the beat last fight, in my opinion. Now they do not have beat. And Rain come in with a massive ult advantage, right? They have 2 support ults. They have the grab. They have the mail. So Rain really should not lose this. They nano Pokpo. They grab. They also mail. That grab is a little bit in the air, so Pokpo has a hard time swinging it. Should still be good though. Use their mail, they use the beat, right? So at this point, because the Rangers have a shit ton of ults and they don't get picked, they're going to win this point. And they actually have a significantly better time bank than Philly does. Whew. Yawning a lot. Okay. Round 2 complete. So again, the Philly are walking in through the left side, right? This time they are starting on the Ashe instead of the McCree because there's no D.Va to really punish it, right? And Poco is again playing the D.Va to kind of make these rotations happen, right? These rotations are very hard to make happen if you get hit by the nade and a bunch of shots and the fire strike and the dynamite, right? So if you want to go high ground here, then it makes a lot of sense to have that D.Va for your rotation. Because otherwise there's a high chance you're getting picked during that rotation. Carpe is going to go ahead and play main. He's going to hide at the start. And he actually instantly kills Urster. Because he also got hit by a fire strike. Oh yeah, he gets hit by Ivy, headshot. And then he also gets hit by Carpe, who's on the off angle. So he really didn't expect that. Baby Bay apparently did. He's already looking at him. But yeah, nice shot there from Ivy and from Carpe. Well, our Ivy's actually already to 27% ult charge. So this is now very rough for the Reign, right? Because the enemy team just has a Mei and they don't. Going to have to drop. Dogman has to nade himself because of the dynamite. But Pokepo's not getting any support right now because everyone's zoned off the point. Boy's just going to get ran over. And they end up losing that fight too. Philly only have 1 minute. But we know they full cap this. And that's because, look at the ults, right? Alarm was able to fully farm his nano boost basically, while Dogman is only 30%. And this is the ideal snowball situation where you have a big impact ultimate like nano boost. The enemy team has 0 ultimates. You just press W, you nano your Reinhardt, he goes really hard. And if the enemy team can't freeze the Reinhardt because there's the bubble on him, or wait, they can't freeze the Reinhardt here. But even with the freeze, if Sato can go super aggro on a Mei wall, then it's really good. I think Urster needs to play a little closer to Pokeball so that they can make sure to freeze Sato when he comes in, right? So you see Pokeball's already half HP. He gets... What? What is Urster doing right now? He needs to be freezing Sato so the Nano Rein doesn't kill all of them. Does he whiff the wall here? Okay, and then the Reign backline just gets ran over because there was no freeze onto Sato. And then Philly just clean up the point because of that. Yeah, I think Urster flight mispositioning, he needed to be more with a Pokeball, so he could have either walled off the Nano Rein or they could have frozen him. I think that's really important. Because now you saw how many swings Sato got off while nanoed, right? There's no real way Pokeball can counter that. They get back in time. Carpe swaps to the Reaper though. He ended up dying on the Ashe. And the Reaper's very good at cleanup. They also have the Mail. Yeah, Philly Fusion is going to clean up here. And with a 1.5 minute timeout, capping both points on Volskaya is incredible. Okay. So on the last rain attack, Baby Rio was able to pick off Carpe and Funny Astro. Assuming he doesn't do this again, let's see how they take this point this time. They walk up, they spam the enemy shield, they actually use the wall to walk up more. Interesting. They actually decide not to do the rotation, right? And you can't really do the rotation, I feel, without the D.Va. What they are going to do is walk up to the wall, and then maybe wall up with their own Mei, or just play under it. Look for boops and force point, right? They're actually spamming out Sato's shield, right? He's going to have to drop because he has no cover up here. Then the Rain are going to wall up and take that high ground. Actually end up forcing Ivy's ice block just by taking this high ground. So this is really, really interesting, right? Pokeball drops very aggressively. And then Dogman actually gets picked by Carpe on the off angle. So this fight was looking really good for the Rain. And they might still win it, but let's look at how Carpe is able to pick Dogman here. Oh, he's actually with the team. He goes to take a quick peek. Dogman's low. It's shot once. It's shot twice. Guys. Nice shots from Carpe. Yeah, good offense. The Rain go to take the high ground again. Again, Dogman's now gotten back, so good job from them waiting. Looking at the ults, Alarm's actually farmed his ultimate already. Dogman's pretty close though, so it's fairly even in ults, right? This is a fight the Rain should win. Also, Carpe is so far away right now because he's got to respawn, I think. So the Rain is just able to walk onto point, get that position they had before. Yeah, this is really good, right? Because Sato has to drop into them. Great wall from Erster. And Pokeball able to swing everybody. Gets a good shadow onto Poco. That's actually very big. Both teams beat, but Masa gets the second beat, which is a big advantage, right? If you beat first, you give your team that initial big armor, right? But if you're not able to get picks off that, and Masa's able to beat second, then everybody gets that armor, right? So let's see how the Philly Fusion clean this up, or how the Rain clean this up, and if they're able to snowball second point. Let's see here. They are actually able to cap first point on this map. And hey Caledon, I'll answer your question in 1 second. Because I think the Rain is actually going to snowball this with their Grav and Mail. And ults are still fairly even. Carpe has the Bob, but I'd say Bob is fairly disposable of an ult, right? It's a good ult. It's not great. So Hawk uses self bubble. Doesn't get much value. But Rain is able to just walk on point. Good wall from Urster. Actually zones Philly off the point, and now they have to just retake. The grab comes out. Great grab from Hawk. Also grab from Poco. But I don't think it's as good because Pokpo's not caught in it. And both males come out. Pokpo gets frozen. Everybody's frozen. But Baby is able to pick off Carpe. And even though Pokpo's dead, that might do a lot here for the Rain. Bob comes out. Bob from fucking Carpe still up. And Nano comes out onto Sato. He actually kills Urster with it. So big plays from Sato. But Rain still have a bunch of damage on this point. They're actually able to kill Sato with the Nano Zarya. Also able to kill Bunny Astro coming in. Ivy and Alarm actually going for a big flank. Nice bubble from Hawk to save Dogman there. That's massive because if Dogman dies there, they just don't have the healing anymore. Masa ends up dying. But because Dogman was able to live because of Hawk's great bubble, the Rain do end up capping these points. On the attack here, Poco decides to go for the Diva, which allows again the Philly to rotate better, right? Which we talked about earlier. The Rain again still saying the same comp. Babyface going to play the off angle still. We're actually taking a much more defensive position here to kind of. Oh, I like this, where they're starting the right side. So if the Philly go right side, then they can stuff the door right. They can't do it the other way around because it's harder to get up that way. Philly see this, that the Rain is holding the right side. They opt to rotate left side. I like how the Rain kind of jumped over to the high ground though. This is a very Goats thing, right? People used to do this in Goats. And Babyface now going to still take an off angle. Good setup so far from the Rain. Now we know that Philly capped both points though, so Philly have to win this fight. Let's see how this rolls out for the Rain, who are still on the high ground. Masa's dropped. Where is Baby right now? He's rotating to the inside. Urster has had to ice block on the high ground. Dogman actually goes pretty low. He's hiding. He's scared. He's actually had to nade himself, and now he goes even more low. Meanwhile, Pokpo had to drop on point. He drops pretty aggressive. Gets wall. Wall comes out from Urster too. But with Dogman having to hide because he's so low, this is rough, right? Because Dogman still won't have nade. Can't really heal Pokpo like this. Now Masa's healing him. Masa goes low. Fight's still relatively even though for either side. And they actually end up killing Ivy, who I think had the ice block still, no? Maybe not sure. Oh, he actually used the ice block, okay. But Philly's actually really far away from Ivy right now. So maybe their rotation back might not be too great. Ivy ends up getting picked. Dogman also gets picked though in the back, which is a really big deal because that's most of the Rain's healing, right? Babyface also burning right now. Hawk ends up killing Poco. Baby also dies to Carpe. So you'd Alarm coming out with very consistent healing here. And actually, what I notice a lot is that Dogman is getting focused very hard by Carpe's dynamites a lot of the time. Carpe doing a good job of being able to dynamite the backline from the rain. Sato gets sped boost on, but they have the nano boost. Dogman's dead. So they're going to lose this first point. Didn't go away yet, but it's already over. Now, second point. The rain can't get snowballed as hard as they just snowballed Philly. Because they basically have 5 volts, right? They need a little bit more charge for the nano boost. Well, the Philly also have 5 volts, but they don't have the nano boost. And I guess they also don't have the D-volt, so it's more like 4 volts. Bob is pretty disposable, and they also aren't even close to the mail. So this is a good, advantageous fight for the rain, especially if they can get their grab up here. But Baby Bay gets a big pre-fight. See how this ended up happening. They wall up. Yeah, and he just walks out into the open and gets picked. I would say Baby Bay needed to play. I guess it's hard, right? Because there's a D.Va on the enemy team, you can't play an off angle. So this was actually a good spot because the D.Va can't reach him here. If he was over here, then the D.Va could fly on him. But just need to play a little more cover there. Ends up getting picked, which is very rough for the rain. Bob comes out. Shatter comes out. Shatter only hits Funny Astro, which they're not able to follow up on, I assume. Sato does end up taking a lot of damage though. Sato shatters. He hits Hawk here in the corner. Hawk's able to get his grab off though. Sato's still 1 HP. Still 1 HP. One swing will do it, but Pokpo actually doesn't go for the swing. Wait a second. Wait a minute. Rav comes out. Sato goes 1 HP. Gets naded too. Great nade from Dogman. And he is in 1 swing range here. But Pokpo goes for the shield on Hawk, who's actually okay because Sato's grabbed. And then he goes for swing. Oh, but he gets booped. Oh, so a boop from Funny Astro actually cooks Pokpo, and they can't finish off Sato because of that, who's 1 HP. Oh, they do actually end up finishing Sato. Okay. So how do the Rain lose this fight? They use their Mail next. Ursher ends up dying to the Dynamite. Baby still not bad from Spawn, I think. So it's a 5v5. He doesn't have his shift right now. So he just walks behind the team, gets shot again. He's going to end up dying here. That Dynamite does a lot of damage over time. Then Poco goes on to Dogman. Beat comes out from both sides. Poco slept. Mailed comes out for Ivy. Poco dies, but he gets a lot of time here for the Philly. Does end up dying. Wall comes out onto Hawk. Great wall. He probably would have gotten out. And then the Philly have control of point. Wow. And Sato's now back on Hammond. What a fight. And I think that boop from Funny Astro at the start to kind of save Sato there. He still ends up dying. But Carpe really getting that pick on Urster is what opened that all back up for the fusion. And that opening pick onto Baby Bay also helped a ton. Especially because it was an overtime fight, right? So the spawns are slower because of that overtime. And that's a big deal because normally defender spawns are so quick and so fast, but because you've got those overtime spawns, it actually takes a lot longer. So now the Rain have to also cap both points. And they're deciding to start with the Zarya again. Philly are probably going to hold this high ground very aggressively again. And Pokpo's shield actually instantly dies. They wall. And he just dies. So wow. Very good start for Philly. The Rain's going to get another fight, but that should not be happening. Hawk is able to stay alive, so he got a lot of ult or charge, right? So did Poco. Wall comes out again. Sato drops aggressively, and I like this a lot more than just letting the range shoot your shield from the low ground, right? Going more aggressive. It's a mirror matchup. Both teams use the shield. They actually go for Hawk here. But then Alarm gets a nade onto Pokeball, which stops him from swinging, and they actually pick Masa with the Fire Strike. That screws the rain because he won't be able to be back in time. It's going to take 15 more seconds for him to be back. Oh, and then Baby Bay also dies because he was trying to take the off angle, but it's pushed. Yeah, at that point, Rain's probably lost, right? Thirster also dies. And they're not able to touch the point. So, last attack, a little sloppy from the Rain. They were kind of trying to do that strat which they did earlier, where they just shot the enemy team's shield right and got under them. The Philly, on the other hand, didn't want to let that happen this time. So they end up holding first point this time. And I think it's really smart from Philly to actually play that Diva to make those rotations on this attack, because it's really rough for the Rain if they just can't make those rotations, because they keep getting naded and they keep getting dynamited, that kind of stuff. Both teams are playing the same comp again with the Ash. Again, Billy is playing the Diva on the attack to make those rotations, while the Zarya is in the hands of Hawk. Let's see here. The Rain decided to drop very early, right? They probably used Hawk's bubbles to get some energy. Actually, they have not. Probably going to use those bubbles for energy a little later. Oh, Baby instantly picks Carpe, so that's a really good pick. His POV a little bit. And getting picks on the defense is obviously a little bit worse than on the attack, because nice job there. Because I think these attacker spawns are a lot closer than the defense spawn, right? Really only have to wait a little bit for Carpe, while if Baby Bay ended up dying there, you'd have to walk all that way back, right? A good pick there from Baby Bay to contest that kind of off-angle flank, you know? The Philly are grouping up right now. Carpe is going to come back from spawn. Oh, and Dogman actually ends up getting picked. And Dogman's been getting picked a few times this match. And I think that's all because the Philly are looking to shoot backline a little bit more than the Rain is. Like, Carpe keeps throwing his dynamites very far in the backline, which is why he might not be doing as much damage. But he's actually finding a lot of these picks onto Dogman. Same for Ivy with his right clicks, right? It's an interesting and different playstyle from what the Rain are doing. Oh, yeah, and Dogman just gets picked there. Yeah, Ivy shooting him in the back. He gets hit by the alarm shot, and then Ivy just headshots him. So very good job there by Diffusion to use that cover, right, and seeing, hey, Dogman's not in cover, let's just all shoot him real quick. And he gets domed by Ivy, who's played phenomenally on the Mei, right? And at that point, your main healer's dead. So the Rain are going to kite back. Baby Bay ends up dying late. So this is horrible for the Rain, right? Because this kind of allows the Philly to keep pushing. Oh, they boop Sato. So very good boop from Masa. But then Pokeball also gets booped, who's trying to counter charge. And yeah, the Philly, without even playing a real fight, you know, there hasn't been a real fight yet. I've just pushed the cart so far already. I'm just off getting that Dogman pick and then that Baby Bay pick. Now both Rhines are dead. First, you're getting some value out of the freeze. Masa ends up dying though. And if you look, Ivy actually almost has his mailed already, and they have the nano boost. But they have some ults to finish this out if they need to. Carpe gets focused really hard by Hawk. Reno actually is kind of camping the point right now. Big dynamite from Carpe. And I actually didn't see Alarm use Nano Boost, but they got very little value off that. Let's actually rewatch that real quick. When did he Nano Boost? Oh, he Nano Boost Carpe to keep him alive. Okay, so that makes some sense because Hawk was zapping him very hard. Yeah, it makes sense to Nano Boost him there. He's trying to go for the backline again. And you see that kind of difference in focus from the Fusion. I feel like Ivy and Carpe are like trying to shoot Dogman and Baby Bay a lot more, while Dogman and Baby Bay are like trying to focus the enemy team's tanks a lot more. Which, if you don't get picked in the backline, then shooting tanks is more consistent, right? But if you do get picked, then it doesn't matter, right? So Carpe doesn't end up making big use out of the Nano Boost. If he had hit that headshot there, that would have been a one-shot right with the Nano Boost. But Baby Bay is able to dink Carpe instead, so he has to back out. And that's a good trade for the Rain, who had gotten picked previously, but now they have Nano Boost. The enemy team doesn't. They're playing very passive, actually. Maybe they should be the ones engaging right with the Nano Boost, even though this is a super good choke. Just because proactive ult usage, I think, is very strong in this game. And again, Baby Bay gets picked. So it's really focus on the backline from the Philly Fusion, which is winning them the game. And holy crap, Carpe's just hitting shots from a million miles away. Let's watch this, dude. One shot. Oh wait, no, that one's on a shield. One shot, two shot, three shot. This is actually in damage fall off range. 4 shot. Wow. Those are some sick shots from Carpe onto Baby Bay. And you see, he doesn't even consider Poco a target to shoot. Or Pokpo, I mean. So, very, very different styles here from both teams. And it's kind of working out for the Philly here. But this should allow the Rain tanks to be more aggressive, since Philly's looking for the backline so much. Dogman also ends up dying. You Poco, who then flies under. Really nice flight. Hawk grabs. But nobody on Fusion dies because Dogman and Baby Bay are already dead. Then the beat comes out from Masa. But this is just like the Rain are throwing in all these ults, right? Because this is a super strong point to hold. But Baby Bay died early. Dogman died. Pokpo's now dead. And now they're beating, you know? It's just, it's not going to work. You cannot throw in your ults into a melting pot. And then the Fusion will just snowball because they're not going to use ults if they're smart. So that's the worst fight possible for the Rain. Because they use so many ults. They used those 4 ults and they weren't able to win it. And now Fusion has 5 ults in the bank, right? So they should be able to snowball this entire second point with those ultimates. And it looks like they're also only going to one fight maybe on this point. Actually, this is already a fight. So aggressive wall here from Erster. They don't all push through. And this is what I'm noticing a lot, is that Ivy always gets walled with Sato. So they're always together, right, when the Erster wall comes out. But when the Ivy wall comes out, he's managing to split up Pokpo and Erster a lot. Like, Erster is sometimes too far back behind Pokpo and not with him enough. So for example, if Erster was on the other side here, you would be able to freeze Sato, so you wouldn't be able to swing, right? But now, obviously, that can't happen. Pokpo tries to shatter to save himself, to actually kill the wall really well. Pin comes out from both sides. Pin actually doesn't connect onto Pokpo. He does a great job sidestepping that. And then Pokpo outplays Sato and gets the pin on him. Sato doesn't end up dying though. That's Bob, I guess? Not sure, but... even trade there. Now Poko's bomb comes out. Actually, that was a pretty good trade for the Rain, I think. Because the Nano Boost came out from Alarm, and I think Nano Boost is a better ult than Shatter. Diva Bomb comes out from Poko. Actually splits off Hawk a little bit. Hawk just barely manages to live. At this point, it's only going to be one fight for the Rain. But this is actually a very good point to hold. Because the defenders have access to this high ground, right? They can just walk up and on it with the stairs. While the attackers oftentimes will just be playing here. So this is a very good defensive point. Also, the defender spawns are a lot closer than the attacker spawns, which are all the way over there. Rialto second, just like a lot of second point payload maps. Very hard to cap. So, Dogman's gonna get his ult up soon. Sato, Funny, Astro have their ults though, and so does Ivy, which is big, right? The Mail's very, very big. And this all still comes down to that one fight where the Rain used a lot of ults, especially to beat while it was already lost. Sato ends up getting booped, but doesn't get booped off the high ground, and then Philly's actually able to kind of grab this high ground for free. Erster messes up his wall, which is really bad. Let's see. I think they're obviously trying to play for the boop here, maybe? But let's say they wait for Sato to walk out. The walkout isn't that synergized here, actually. Oh, but Erster's on the low ground right now. So they didn't expect Sato to be on the high ground here. So they can't wall him right now. That makes sense. Masa tries to go for boop. Doesn't get it, barely. And then another boop comes out. Sato comes into a shatter, but he gets booped. He's tried to shatter on the high ground. Pokpo also gets booped. So funnily enough, Sato 360 shatters the shield. Beat comes out from Funny Astro. Good beat, because otherwise Sato would have died. And then the Mayo comes out from Ivy, right? But this fight actually started great for the Rain. But because Fusion still had the Beat and the Mayo, they can push out with that. They managed to nano Pokpo here, but Masa actually gets picked. So Masa gets this great boop. Oh, but he actually drops into the enemy team after the boop, and then he gets slept. So really good sleep from Alarm. And they're able to nade Masa too and kill him. So great punish there on that drop from the Philly. Now they freeze Pokeball, right? He's able to get the bubble, but he's still not going to live because Sato's just swinging on him. At this point, Philly's 2-0 up, 2 people up, right? Fusion have no ultimates anymore, but since the cart's already pushed up, if they just keep free on cart, it's going to have to be a disjointed touch for the Rain if they even want to touch at all. Mercer's now in the back. He still has Ice Block. Gets bubbled. Still has Ice Block. Still a 4v6 for the Rain, I think. Actually, maybe a 5v6 at this point. But Hawk has to go in aggressively. They nano Sato now because Alarm's farmed that ultimate. And then they eat Hawk's grab. Wow. So let's watch how this happens. Hawk's able to farm his ult off Poco. Poco does the jump up. Hawk zaps him because he wants to get that Matrix out. Matrix comes out. Poco turns around, which is a classic D.Va move, right? And grab the side, or Hawk decides to ult because he saw the Matrix leave. And then he grabs with Poco's big brain. And he eats the grab from Hawk. Read him like a book. Nice job from him. And yeah, good outplay from Poco. Because also, the male comes out. And maybe if Hawk would have gotten the grab off here, Rain could have clutched this. So really good job from Poco. Because if the Rain clutched there, this is a very good spot to hold, right? Because of that high ground. Because of how far the spawns are. So it's crucial that they got that point. And now they have 4 minutes left. Okay. So Philly had to use a bunch of ults to win that fight. They're now farming them again though. They're like 70% with all the ults, right? Rain used their grab and their Mei ult late, but they're pretty close on all their other ults again. The Bob comes out from Carpe. Good Bob positioning. Does Dogman have sleep to sleep it? Oh, he actually does. He just doesn't sleep it very quickly. Bob comes out from Baby Bay 2. Oh, Masa actually gets picked here. Bob finally gets slept. Poco gets an anode. Poco gets an anode. He gets to go in. But yeah, that early Bob created a lot of space actually. I always meme Bob, but it created a lot of space there for the Philly. It had good positioning. It zoned Baby Bay away completely. And then Philly just kind of like run over. They somehow pick Masa, I think it was. Let me see. Yeah, they picked Masa. Who at beat 2, so that makes it even worse. So he's speeding in the team, but they're not really going in. So there seems to be some miscommunication there from the Rain. And then they kite back. And then the shield goes to the left, but he goes to the right, and then he dies. Nice shot there from Carpe. A little bit of miscommunication there from the Rain. Where I guess one side was saying, hey, peel for Bob, and the other side was saying, hey, go deep. And then Masa speed boost, they're not able to get anything. They nano Poco, but he just kind of gets kited. He gets walled. Yeah, and he's gonna die now too, and they just used the nano on him. And Fusion actually have had to use no ults, but the Bob so far, Poco comes out with the ult. Where does that even go? Oh, it goes right there. And they get more picks off that. So again, really good fight there from... Oh, they actually nano boosted somebody too. Wait, who did they nano boost? Oh, they nano boost Sato late too. Okay. Fine though. So now the Mei ult still up for Ivy. Poco gets bubbled in, but great wall here. Wow, such a good wall from Ivy. Blocks the beat onto Poco completely. I don't think he will get it. And then he also gets Mei ulted. So that wall was insane value. And then C9 happens too. Wow. Nice wall there from Ivy, who's been playing so well this whole match. So Rain here. Rolling on the same comp. Rolling out on the Zarya again, not the D.Va. Let's keep going with this last map of Rialto here. Fusion also give up a bunch of space here. They do the same thing Rain does, basically. Rain, however, actually gets a really good rotation here. Before Philly even drop, Philly holds high ground maybe for a little too long. And they're able to go under Philly and kind of get out of this choke, which is really, really bad to play in, right? If you just get held there, it's very hard to push through the cart. So Rain is actually able to kind of take that defender's advantage just with smart maneuvering, and Philly actually played that very slow, right? They gave up that space for free. So good maneuvering by the Rain. Now Pokeball's able to get good swings too. Good wall too from Erster. Yeah, just a lot of aggression from the Rain now, which they weren't as aggressive before. So good moves there. Oh, Hawk ends up dying, which is really bad because then he loses all his energy, right? He was probably like full energy at that point. So Hawk dying there is actually like a big deal. And the Philly people there actually end up getting out as well, which this allows for a massive Philly re-engage. You're now only 5 people here for the Rain. Whereas Ivy's already gotten back and Sato's going to pin back. So it's basically 6 for the Philly. So that was very bad for Hawk to die while they were cleaning up there. Oh, but Alarm dies. So nice pick there from Baby Bay. And that's all the healing gone from Philly. Think of Alarm lives there and able to go back main. That fight retake is really winnable because Hawk's dead. Also, Poco is still farming, right? He's like the first one to get ult here, which Zarya ults is like, I think it's the highest damage for an ult that you need to get. So him getting it first means he's done a shit ton of damage. And that could have been Hawk if he hadn't died there, right? Because he would be high energy. So let's see if the Rain can win this. They nano boost Erster. The grab comes out from Poco. He actually ends up dying. So nice shot there from Baby Bay. Wow. Hawk's back. The beat comes out. Erster's almost got his ultimate. He's going to get it here. And he is able to kind of clutch it out for his team. And nobody can touch the point anymore because the Mail's there. Like, even though I think he misses a shot onto Astro here, and Astro really should have died faster. And they lose this fight. Still good, right? Just because they got this point, and this point's pretty hard to cap at the end of that push. Next fight going into it. Astro actually also used a beat to try and clutch, and they used a grab. Ivy didn't get his mail yet, so they're gonna get mail pretty soon. They have Nano and they have Shatter. Rain still have beat, but it's pretty even in the ult bank here. If Hawk can get his grab pretty quick, that'd be very good for the Rain. They're actually deciding to go take high ground. Sato goes very aggressive, gets shattered. And then Pokeball goes for the pin on him too, while he's nano boost. So I think that's very good, right? To kind of take that Reinhardt out of the fight while he's nano boosted. Masa also beats though, which again doesn't hit Pokos. What? How did that not hit Poco? What? Wait. Wait. Is it the Philly bubble? blocking it onto Pokpo. Wow, that's an interaction. Because Pokpo actually doesn't get the beat here from Masa, when Masa was trying to beat almost exclusively for Pokpo. But because Sato has the ally Zarya bubble, he doesn't actually get the beat here from Masa, which is crazy. Especially because he's also pinning him. Now, it probably doesn't change the outcome of that fight, right? Because Pokpo disengages here. But it could in like a future fight where if you bubble your pinning Rein when the enemy team is beating, you can deny the beat onto the enemy Rein, which is really interesting. So yeah, Rein cleaned this up. Good chase down there. Make sure that, you know, Philly get that first fight, but now Rein is going to get a lot of pressure for the second fight. They've also farmed another Nano Boost. They have the grab and they have the Bob. But the Mayos here again for Ivy. And Ivy's had such good Mayos this whole match. So let's see if we can get another big one here to kind of clutch it out for Philly. The Bob is used early by Baby Bay. They used a wall too. They're actually going really aggro here. And Sato solo shatters Baby Bay in the back line, which is definitely worth. And Pokpo also gets frozen, who's nano boosted, and then Dogman also dies. So again, that focus onto the back line from Philly, really shining here. And great picks there from Sato and the kill onto Dogman as well. They only use 2 ults. Rein also used 2 ults, but the Mail is a very, very big ult, right? Oftentimes you can win a fight just off Mail. I mean, especially when the enemy team has used their bubbles, and they obviously don't have Diva Matrix, right? That Mail can get a lot of value. So generally what you'll see teams do that have the Mail, and we'll see if the Rein does this here. But like, take a small engagement, force the enemy bubble, right? If you bubble your Rein, generally the defending team is also going to have to bubble their Rein, because otherwise he just gets ran over. So yeah, we'll see if that works here. Pokpo actually comes out with a very early grab. They're able to kill Masa with it. The grab and the Nano come out here for fusion. Since the Rein didn't use anything, that's not too bad a fight for them. But still a good grab. The Rein are going high ground again. Which this high ground's actually pretty hard to take, right? If the enemy Mei is up here, the enemy Mei is up here, and you walk out of this choke, you get walled very, very often, and then your team has to focus the wall while the enemy team is focusing you, right? Which isn't ideal, especially when you're 6 stacking on it too. Baby actually goes main. So they're 5 stacking top. The wall comes out. Hawk actually gets walled off, but the wall isn't that great. And I think Mas actually comes in with a boop. You boop. Ivy off the high ground there. So nice moves from the Rein. They now have 6 ultimates, right? While Philly also has, they almost have 6 ultimates. Pokpo actually farmed that grab incredibly quick. He just used it last fight, and now he's already up to 60%. That's crazy. Okay, they grab only onto Sato, which isn't too great of a grab, especially if the Nano Boost and the beat are up from Alarm and Funny Astro. Kind of feels Sato is playing bait, you know. Urster actually goes to ult Funny Astro in the back line there. Gets the freeze on him. But then nobody else really shoots him. Everybody else is shooting Sato. But Pokpo gets a big shatter. So Rain probably win the fight off that. They do the classic, hey, we use fucking 6 ults, and we go and win the fight. GG. Nice shadow from Pokpo. So, but Rain did use 6 ults, right, to cap that. And now it's already impossible for them to get a better time than the Philly Fusion. And Philly can really like spread out these ults now, right? Because the Rain are gonna take 1, 2, maybe even basically 1 or 2 fights to get their ults back up. And they can win fights with basically 1 or 2 ultimates, right? Like they just did earlier. They used only Grav and Nano. And then next fight they can use Mei and then something else, you know? So if the Philly can play their ultimates well here, they could probably win the next 2 fights just based on their ultimates. And that's how economy kind of works in Overwatch. Okay. Pokpo gets to half HP, goes aggressive, uses the bubble. But this is rough for the Rain, right? Because Sato has the nano boost and Rain has nothing. So if they just take the tank duel here and they don't focus backline, then yeah, Pokpo just gets blown up. Also the Mei wall there was very good from Ivy. So only nano boost was used this first fight. That's really good for Philly. Now Hawk did get out with energy. So he's already 70% to another ult. Rain also picked Funny Astro late. He's gonna be back in time. The Dynamite comes out. Baby Bay is actually in a great flank over here. Uncontested. Grav comes out very early from Poco though. Nano comes out from Dogman onto Erster to keep him alive. Maybe would have been better served onto Pokeball because Erster obviously has that shift ability, but it was probably a clusterfuck for Dogman because everybody is in this grab right here. Nice sleep onto Sado, who then can't swing. And this was actually really early engage for Philly, but Erster can just wall this, right, when they're engaging. So that might have been a little too early. The Mailed comes out for Ivy, though. Who, I mean, they just got every cooldown out of the Rain. Erster doesn't have Ice Block anymore, so they're able to get Pokpo and Erster. But having to use both Grav and Mailed in a fight isn't too great, especially when the Rain only used the nano boost, right? Still a good fight for Philly, but they would have rather only had to use that Grav, right? Okay, now the Rain of ultimates up again. So as I said, these 2 fights were basically won just based off ults. For the Fusion because the Rain had to use 6 ults to win that last point. Has to walk up again. They have the Grav. The Bob comes out early. Ooh. And then they Grav, but the wall comes out at the same time. Bad wall from Erster would have been better fit behind the enemy team, obviously. But Bob is also in the grab lol. Ooh, big shatter from Pokpo actually hits the backline for Fusion. Oh yeah, where were we? Oh yeah, we were at Pokpo gets a massive shatter here after the grab comes out for Hawk. He goes past the shield, doesn't get Sato, but he gets Carpe and Alarm, who are most of the damage and the healing for Philly Fusion. Now Pokpo is low though, and Bob is still up. Shatter comes out for Sato, hits nobody. So a nice block too from Pokpo, kind of outplaying Sato there big time. But Philly still had an ace up their sleeve. They still had to beat. And then because the health bars from the rain are so low, die. Hawk ends up killing Sato. Everybody from the rain goes high ground. It actually, because they got Sato so late, Philly has to give up all the space. Now that's not the end of the world for the fusion, because actually this inside is really hard to push, because this is the main choke. Once the card gets in here, it becomes a very small choke on both sides, right? This is a hard choke and this is a hard choke. So if the Philly do opt to hold in there, I think that's very smart. Not sure if they do here. I think they do, because they only get one fight on this point anyway. But if you look at the actual ult economy, it's actually looking really good for the Rain right now. They're both support ults and their Mei ult. Well, Philly almost has their grab and their Mei ult again, right? But if the enemy team beats your grab, not great. Well, let's see what happens here. 40 Rain, they go super aggressive with the Nano Boost, which I love, because now Pokpo actually doesn't get caught in the grab. It's Dogman and Hawk, and Masa comes out with the beat too. Nice beat. Well, Poco is gonna get, barely doesn't get frozen, but he's still slowed. And kind of a C9 happens, but a nice aggressive ult usage from the Rain. I love to see that, especially when the enemy team doesn't have all the ults to answer, right? Generally, when you're in an ult advantage, you want to use those ults really aggressively and enforce that advantage. But when you're in an ult deficit, you can play those fights a little bit slower and farm those ultimates. So let's keep this VOD review going. Again, mirror comps, or it wasn't mirror comps earlier, but now it's mirror comps because Poco swapped from the D.Va to the Zarya. They definitely prefer the Zarya on the defense here, on the side of the Philly Fusion. Mostly because it's easier to get and keep the energy on the defense. And, you know, to get space, sometimes D.Va Matrix is very, very good, right? But Rain don't agree with the Philly on that point. And they actually play the Zarya on both the attack and the defense. Now, wow. Philly goes early. Do they boop? I think Masa actually ends up booping Sato down here, because it doesn't seem too good of a play here to actually drop here. So it must be Masa booping. Let's see here. Oh, no, actually, Rain walls Sato. What is happening? Let's see here. Oh, Sato drops, actually. Wait, Philly decided to drop so aggressively. Wow. But Carpe isn't ready for this at all. He's looking for Masa right now. And a great wall comes out here too from Erster. Where Sato drops so early, Erster gets the wall off. Funny Astro goes in, the bubble comes out on both sides. And Pokpo is just able to kill Funny Astro. He might also kill Sato here. So in my opinion, I like that defense more, where they kind of drop to the back here, and Carpe did not seem ready for that drop by the Philly Fusion. Wasn't able to output any damage. And Rain just kind of get a free fight win in there. And winning that first fight is so massive on this defense, because they actually get a bunch of ult charge on the Ana, right? And then if they can get the Nano Boost before Alarm can, they can go aggressive with that too. They get Zarya ult or Zarya like charge, right? While Poco has to respawn, doesn't get any Zarya charge at all. Hawk's probably full charge right here. Yeah, 60%. They get another pick. So not a coordinated engage there from Philly. If you want to set up a fight like that, you really need to have some flanks come in. Oh, Pokpo gets slept here though. Nice sleep there from Alarm. Fox has to shield himself. Wall comes out from Urster, but the sleep then still baited out the enemy wall, right? And Wall's super strong ability. It's also had its cooldown nerfed. It's now 13-second cooldown. So getting that wall is pretty big. Dogman has the nano here. They know they have nano. The enemy team doesn't. So they go mega aggro. Masa actually gets a boop kill onto Carpe. And I think it's smart, right? Because you're now playing the D.Va. It's hard to contest the flanking Ashe. But now Masa actually goes for that 1v1. Let's see how that happens. Oh yeah, he finds Carpe. Somebody must have called him out. Oh, and then he triple headshots him. He boops him and kills him. So Assassin Lucio. Big play there. Pokpo runs in. Is nano boosted. Philly's now 2 down. They used the nano boost themselves to try and clutch it out, right? That's an error. And yeah. Rain just win that fight and they're still even in Old Bank. Even though they've won 2 fights, right? So very good push so far from the Rain. You're now going to go to the high ground where they get first, right? So if Philly now have to walk out here, they can wall them and try and get the engage. That's very good for them. Kind of keeping up that snowball. They do get poked out. So good job by Philly to not just run out to actually get that shield damage in, right? And then walk up. Astro is really close to beat, actually. But first, Pokpo, etc. have ult 2. So it's a fairly even fight. I think this is where the Philly Fusion win, though. Babybay actually flank bobbing. What is this madman doing? Wait a second. Wait a minute. He goes and flies over, sends in Bob, sends in his dynamite. He hits everybody with the dynamite and the Bob. Oh, but then he just slightly misses the shot. And the Rain is actually engages onto Poco here. But while that's happening, Babybay ends up dying. Good shatter onto Poco. You want to get that Zarya. The beat comes out, but actually doesn't connect. Poco's block shatter again from Sato. Mailed comes out from both sides, but good mailed from Ivy. This fight's very close so far. Masa's dead, he almost at beat. Urster walls, but that wall kind of blocks the LOS. And then the Rain loses. So that fight was really close. If Masa doesn't end up dying there and gets the beat, that would be massive. But actually a really good ultimate from Ivy. Ends up winning the Rain that fight. And Babybay kind of going for that hero play. While his team was on the low ground, couldn't really go in right as that went off. Ends up getting him killed too. So good attack for the Rain. However, that last fight could have been played a little bit better. The Philly are playing, interestingly, that D.Va on the attack. Rain's still playing the Zarya. Rain's going to go for that early drop, right? Because they don't want happening to them what they did to the Philly on their A1. I like this drop a lot more than what the Philly did, right? Philly goes for that rotation onto high ground, though. Very, very smart. They have the high ground. Now this time, Dogman is actually going to play a lot further back together with Babybay. Because whenever Philly takes a high ground like this, they'll just sit there until they pick somebody, you know? It's what we've seen so far. Especially when they're the ones playing the D.Va. The D.Va can kind of grab these other high grounds too. as he is fighting with Masa right now. Masa gets pushed out by Poco. Philly actually drops very aggressive. Larm has the high ground over here. Carpe has an angle. Carpe actually picks Masa really, really well. And again, this is that Philly focus onto the back line of the Rain, where they are putting their Ash into position a lot to dynamite and nade the back line. Which they're doing a really good job of. Actually misses a shot on Masa here. Masa jukes. Masa more jukes, but ends up dying. Sato ends up dying in return though. This is fine for the Rain. Poco is actually zoning the backline for the Rain quite well here. Hawk ends up going to 1 HP. Hawk actually ends up dying because Pokpo decides to go for Poco instead of letting Baby Bay and Dogman kind of deal with him. Maybe Baby Bay and Dogman shouldn't be sitting on the same angle, right? Baby Bay, Dogman should be sitting here and Baby Bay should be sitting here so that Poco can't zone both of them just by dropping onto them. Poco did a really great job as D.Va here. Kind of keep the backline busy and stop them from healing Hawk even. Because Hawk here tries to go and help deal with Poco. Gets headshot by Carpe, right? Has to go back to his team. Gets healed up. Carpe still being a nuisance. And then as everybody tries to rotate, Carpe headshots Hawk again. So Carpe really creating the plays here for Philly. First picking Masa, now also picking Hawk. And yeah, that D.Va just being able to deal with both Dogman and Baby Bay at the same time while Carpe's free shooting means that the Philly can just win this fight. And Philly also have not had to use any ults there, right? Even though Dogman used a nano boost, Philly didn't have to use their nano boost. And they're sitting on free ultimates while the Rain has basically only their Bob. So they should be able to just cap this point. And I doubt the Rain are even going to go for the contest. Oh, they are? Okay. However, as our clever brains can see, Pokpo's not here yet. So they're going to have to use a lot of cooldowns just to kind of contest the cart here. Because Pokpo's shield is not there. Carpe's using this high ground very, very well. Bob gets slept. Fucking Bob. Do something. And then Carpe, because he has this high ground, ends up killing Baby Bay. They also end up killing Dogman with Poco in the back line, right? So, really nice job not taking that tank fight for Philly. They end up using a lot of ults though. But because they used this high ground, get the LOS, they end up winning that fight. Okay. The Rain kind of go for that recontest. The wall comes out. Poco's just being annoying, right? Rain will only get one fight at this point. They do have a bunch of ults though. They have a massive ult advantage actually if you look at the grand scheme of things. There's only a minute left here from Fusion. They don't have their Mail. They don't have their Bob. They don't have their Nano. So they only have 3 ults while the Rain have basically 5 ults if they can farm that Nano boost with that 30%. So if this fight will go long and the Rain can kind of spread out their ults, they have a very, very good chance of just winning this, right? But we know this is a free 0. So let's see why that is the case, because theoretically the Rain have a high chance of winning it. Pokpo and Sato both contesting the point. Rain kind of abusing that high ground right now. Good eats on the dynamite from Poco. Masa goes very low, has to use his amp healing. Boop comes out from Poco. So everybody's on the low ground now. Actually, Alarm's going for a flank on the high ground. Poco comes out with a shatter. Actually gets Sato. Nice shatter. Ivy with a nice wall. Beat comes out from Funny Astro to kind of counter the shatter. And this is pretty good for the Rain, right? Because if you use that shatter to get that nano or to get that beat, you can then use either your Mailed or your Grav to finish off the enemy team, right? Because they have to probably use a lot of cooldowns and the beat. Diva Bomb comes out for Poco. He's actually very low in the sky right now. And the Diva Bomb doesn't get anyone. That was actually not the greatest placement. If he placed that right on the corner, that would have been an insane ult. But it was placed right in the middle. So you can just walk against this, walk over here, right? And you dodge it. The Mei ult's now going, and they've also grabbed. So they've used 2 ults to just get this Mei. And this is bad for the Rain. Because they got the beat with just the shatter, right? Great. And then Hawk uses the grab because the D-Volt's going. But Urster also uses ult. But it kind of used both ults at once on a single Mei. So kind of panic ulting from the Rain, I feel, where, you know, if all Fusion was here, sure, use both these ults at the same time. But it's 2 ults on 1 Mei, which is bad. Also, Poco ends up getting a remake. He's gotta die now. And then they also use beat. And Poco doesn't die. Ooh, that's a bad beat. Oh, Poco does end up dying. But he can just jump off the map. And Philly actually have time to kind of regroup here. Spectate Alarm after this fight. Okay, let's watch the fight and then let's spectate Alarm. Alarm kills Pokpo. Think what happens to Pokpo here, because this is bad. Pokpo kind of spamming. He decides to go over here instead of going back to his team for some reason. Not sure what the thought process is here, but Alarm gets a clutch sleep onto Pokpo, who was trying to get away, and this is disastrous for the Rain. Oh, and now Pokpo's going to die, and now they're in a 5v6. A nice sleep there from Alarm. Sato gets the nano boost. Bob comes out. The Rain had used a shit ton of ults last fight. Pokpo is just dead. Now the Philly Fusion win this fight. There's no way they don't. Urster contests the cart, right? Pokpo's nowhere near close yet. So Urster's going to die. Hawk contests cart. He's going to die. Dogman dies. It's a disaster for the Rain. So they were likely to lose that fight already because they had such a big ult disadvantage. But because Pokpo also dies that early on, it's really bad. You said spectate Alarm after this fight. Where do you mean? Down to spectate Alarm. Do you mean at sleep? Onto Pokpo. It's it all the way from downtown. Great sleep onto Pokpo. Everybody keep walking up. The Philly Fusion keep going very aggressive. He actually hits a nice nade onto Alarm too. He gets pushed. Ends up dying to... Oh, he actually doesn't die to Masa, but it was close. But the fight was already lost at that point. So yeah. Great ult economy mostly. All throughout these maps. from Philly Fusion. Especially Poco was able to get a lot more out of his Zarios than Hawk was. And just a really good game from the Philly Fusion overall. I thought Ivy really shined on the Mei. And so did Poco on the D.Va and the Zarya. And the adaptability from the Philly Fusion coming out was great to see that match. So yeah, for the people watching on YouTube, thank you guys very much for watching this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one.